going on? How's everyone doing?
Shout out to Colin. Everybody else who's cool with Colin.
Chucky, I didn't say.
Get your popcorn and your Coca-Cola and relax.
Anyway, tell Colin I'm ready.
Ooh, wow. Wow. All right, let's start that over. What's going on? This is Colin. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a great day so far. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. I hope you guys had a great weekend. It's time for some court. You guys want to watch some court? I want to watch some court. Let's watch some court. I have got a very interesting case tonight. We are watching Judge Garcia in Texas, and we have a pro se. Well, he's technically the plaintiff because he's selling the tow company. He's suing the tow company. His truck got sued. His tow. Why do I keep saying sue? His truck got towed. He was parked in a Walmart parking lot. His truck got towed, and he's not happy about it. So we have two hearings. He took this company to court the first time. You'll see, there's some issues. So I'm guessing he refiled, and now we're in trial. So I've got both hearings for you. Hope you're ready. It's a good one. Before we get started, Mary, thank you so much for the 14 months. I appreciate it. That is awesome. Thank you. All right. You guys ready? I'm ready. Before I hit that play button, you know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe. Do your jump kick backflips. Let's go.
Let me get Hauling, Arthur Hanley, and New Era Towing in Walmart 3279. Give me 1 minute. Let me get to this case because I need. All right. So you are Mr. Arthur, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Who's H. Hauling?
I own the company.
Okay. So talk to me. What's going on?
Well, I'm the sole proprietor of my company. I have one truck that I drive, and I delivered a load to Walmart, a load of mulch. I'm not sure what the value was, probably $15,000. But anyway, during the unloading process, the flagger, not the forklift driver, the flagger had the paperwork in his pocket. This was on the 19th, and the wind was extremely high, and the wind blew my paperwork out of his pocket, and they couldn't get it. They couldn't retrieve it. So I had to park my truck. I told them I either have to have the product back on my truck, or you all can keep the product, but I leave my truck here, buy the product until you get me some paperwork. And so what they did was they went to management. Management says, well, we can't do anything. We got to go through corporate. They went through corporate the next morning. Corporate says, well, we've got to go back to the supplier over in Huntsville and see if we can retrieve the paperwork, because there was 100 trucks in and out of that place that day. They finally retrieved the paperwork around 1 o'clock the next day, which was the 20th. And they called me and they said, we ought to have the paperwork in hand by 4. Corporate finally got it in. Corporate sent it to the store, and they called me around, I don't know, 4:30, 5 o'clock. I said, well, I'll have to come over and pick it up. I went over to pick it up around 6, I believe it was, that evening. The managers had gone home. They said, I'm going to leave the paperwork at the auto center, the automotive center. So I went to the automotive center. They didn't know where the paperwork was. They had no idea what I was even talking about. And so they called the manager at home. They finally tracked the paperwork down. They brought the paperwork over to the automotive center, and they were getting ready to close. I said, well, no one has signed it. And the manager authorized the automotive center manager on duty to sign the paperwork. That was around 6 o'clock. And I said, well, I'm going to go home, not home. I'm going to go to my daughter's house. My daughter is in here from Germany for a major operation. So my wife was down here helping her. They sent her to the base out here for the operation. And so I went over there where they were, and I came back that night, probably around, I don't know, 12:30, somewhere around there. But the truck was gone. So I dialed 911. And the lady was extremely helpful. She says, well, let me try and track it down. So she tracked it down and she says, oh, the truck was towed. So you ought to be happy. It wasn't stolen. I left my keys in the truck. I didn't take my keys out. I left them in the truck because I was coming back so I could go. And so we found out who had the vehicle. We made a phone call that night. I guess it was.
Hey, welcome to all the big and non-raiders. I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Hello to everybody. We just started. This is a semi-truck driver that got his truck towed from Walmart. It's going to be one of those nights. I cannot put my words together, so bear with me. Also, giant shout out to Hutch. Hutch is in the house. Welcome, Hutch. All right, let's go.
Around 1:30. They said, well, you can't pick your vehicle up until tomorrow morning. So what time do you open? So we open at 8 o'clock. I said, okay, I'll be there. So I was there early, around 7:30. I waited till they got there, and we went in, and I said, well, I'm here to pick my truck up. And they asked me a lot of questions. I said, well, I have all my paperwork. It's in the truck. Everything that DOT requires is in the truck. And so whoever the receptionist was says, we need a title. I said, I don't have a title. I have everything that DOT requires, which is my cab card, that's my registration, and everything else. And I mean, everything is in the folder. I said, it's in the truck. If you let me in, I'll go get the folder. They let me in. I went and got the folder, brought it back and presented it. They said, well, no, we got to have a title. That's our requirement. I said, who carries a title around? The lady says, well, some people keep a title in their pocket. I said, most titles are in the safe deposit box. And so they wouldn't let me have the truck. And so I called my wife. I said, listen, somehow, because she is also my administrator, my wife, we just in business together. And so she was able to get somebody to get a title and email a title to them. So we got the title emailed when they needed a title for the truck and a title for the trailer. I said, okay, this doesn't make any sense because I just had 2 inspections with DOT on the same book. Nevertheless, what we did was we gave them, once they got the title in, I said, can I come pick my truck up? I said, no, you've got to have cash and we need a DBA. I said, there's a DBA in the book, doing business as, because I had everything in my name. I changed it over to H. Hauling, LLC. And so we had a DBA in the book, and I said, no, you got to have a DBA in your name. Well, the insurance is in H. Hauling, and the DBA has my name and H. Hauling on it. I'm going to try and hurry and get through. And so that was unacceptable. And so we called the insurance company. We need an insurance paper with the towing company's name put on it. So that's what we had done. We've got everything here. And so they made us do that. I said, okay, can I get my truck now? Well, we don't accept credit card. I said, okay, where am I going to get almost $1,500 from cash? I'm from Arkansas. And so they said, well, we can't release the truck without cash. I said, I don't know how I'm going to get it. I said, let me wire it to you. They wouldn't accept a wire. I said, let me send it to you Cash App on your Cash App, and you just take the money and pay for it. We can't do that. So you couldn't accept my credit card. You couldn't accept Cash App. And you wouldn't accept a wire to the bank, to your bank. I said, I don't know what else I'm going to do. So I went to my daughter, who's very ill, and I said, look, we got to have $1,500 or $1,400 so that we can get my truck out, or else I'm going to miss my load. I had a load picking up in Buda, Texas. I said, also, I'm going to miss my load. And so they were able to come up with the money, and my wife brought me the money. I said, and I'll just Cash App your account. And so that's what we did.
Okay, so
We
you paid the
Cash App my daughter, got the
$1,400.
money. And I took the money to them, and they had one title, but they didn't have another title, but they still released the truck, and they said, okay, we'll charge you $85.
Yes, this was a semi that was towed. With yeah, he's about to go through all the details right now. So yeah,
To take your truck outside the yard, and we'll charge you another $85 to take your trailer outside the yard. And then we can get somebody to come over here and put your drive shaft back up for $250. I said, okay. I said, well, just let me see my truck. They let me see my truck. I went to my truck. In 15 minutes, I put my drive shaft back up and hand tightened the nuts on the thing so that the drive shaft wouldn't fall out. I hooked to my trailer and pulled outside so that I could.
Okay, Mr. Arthur,
this is Judge Garcia out of San Antonio. So we are in Texas right now.
what are you asking for right now?
I'm asking, okay, the other thing is we had a police report done, and we asked the police to look at the surveillance camera, and they charged me 2 tow bills, one for the truck and one for the trailer. The police
Of course, Judge Simpson has to interrupt. Sorry guys, hold on. Let me fast forward a little bit.
accept a wire. I said, let me send it to you cash out.
All right, I hold on. Let's try here.
To take your trailer outside the yard, and then we can get somebody to come over here and put your drive shaft back up for $250. I said, okay.
I think we're good. Did I skip too much, guys? Let me know if I need to rewind it a little bit.
I said, well, just let me see my truck. They let me see my truck. I went to my truck. In 15 minutes, I put my drive shaft back up and hand tightened the nuts on the thing so that the drive shaft wouldn't fall out. I hooked to my trailer and pulled outside so that I could.
Okay, Mr. Arthur, what are you asking for right now?
I'm asking, okay, the other thing is we had a police report done, and we asked the police to look at the surveillance camera, and they charged me 2 tow bills, one for the truck and one for the trailer. The police officer, and I have the police report, says the truck was towed as one unit. They didn't disconnect the trailer from the truck. They towed it as one unit, but they charged me twice. And they towed it with my drive shaft intact, which you can't do. They towed it horsed in the air, and evidently my engine was running because there's no way to release the brakes unless you got air to the truck. So I got a lease truck now because I don't know how much damage is to my truck. But anyway, I'm asking for the tow bill.
Which is how much?
$1354.68.
$1354.68.
And that was divided by 2 because they charged me twice. I'm asking for the filing fee of $54. And I'm asking for the missed load that I've gotten. I've got the rate con showing that I missed a load of $550, which is a total of $1958.68. I'm asking that they reimburse me.
Okay, give me 1 minute. Go ahead on new air towing.
Yes,
What up, Team Skeptic? And yeah, you know what? That's fine. It's mutual. Good to see you too, kinda. Thank you for stopping by, kinda. I hope you have a great weekend, kinda. Good to see you, my friend. Hopefully you are well. And I actually do mean that, unlike you.
Your Honor. We're here for a probable cause hearing. If probable cause existed for the removal of the vehicle. I'd like to address one thing, Your Honor. He stated that he had to put his drive shaft back in, and then in the second sentence, he stated that his drive shaft was not removed. So he's contradicting himself, but the drive shaft was removed because, again, he was told that the drive shaft was removed. And he also did state that he put the drive shaft back in himself.
Removed
So-
after it got to the shop.
So, again, this is a probable cause hearing. I have some photos. I'm not Circle K, I'm so sorry. Walmart does not allow any after-hours parking of 18-wheelers. They do have a designated space near the garden center. He was not in that area because he was taking like 4 or 5, maybe 6 spots. But the area where they do allow the 18-wheelers to park after hours, and they have to be with the vehicle, that's the truck, there's a designated space, and I'll show you in the photos that I have here. But where he was at is an area they did not allow for any type of after-hours parking for 18-wheelers. They do have signs throughout the property that no rig parking. You will see that as well. He did not have a load on this. Okay, it was unattended. There's also a timestamp, a screenshot where the truck was unattended at 10:07 the night before. But he was towed after that, after midnight. If you'd like to, she can swipe to see the photos. And the tow sign does specifically say no 18-wheeler parking.
We had permission from the manager to stay.
Do you have that in writing?
We can get, I don't have it in writing. I can get it though.
Well,
Did you
today-
get it? Did you get
Today
it in
would
writing?
be the magic hour to produce that. Today's your hearing. You requested. the
That's
hearing.
fine.
I can
That's-
let you
that's
know
okay.
if they do give authorization, they specifically tell them they must park in the designated 18-wheeler parking on the side of the building. I think there's a photo. Here, let me show, there's two circles, one where he was parked and one in yellow. The font says designated 18-wheeler parking. Let me know if you're not able to find it and I'll go show you.
Okay, I see it right here. Okay.
And the other
Designated-
circle to the left of that is where he was parked.
Got you.
And he took up quite a few spaces. In a case where, in this gentleman's situation where if he is given authorization, they actually have to go through loss prevention. Loss prevention is who manages the outside of the property and maintains the security of the property. They don't allow any after hours. They have a
All right, what I heard from that is, I used to know a truck driver. The person I'm referring to, I haven't talked to in years, but yeah, Walmart used to be really cool to truck drivers, to semi. They'd let them sleep overnight, but the problem was, now I'm not going to say every Walmart. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to do any kind of umbrella statements, but they stopped doing it because a few truck drivers were really dirty. Pissing in bottles and throwing them in the parking lot before they leave. That wasn't uncommon in a lot of areas. Just throwing their trash out the windows, like destroying the parking lot. So Walmart has stopped doing that. That is what I've heard. I've never seen that in writing anywhere, but that is what I've heard. Why Walmart kind of rescinded their "we're cool to truck drivers" stance. Let's just say that.
huge indigent problem of unhoused people there that are parking and they're breaking into vehicles. To be quite honest with you, they're causing a lot of damage to that property. That's why Walmart brought us in to remove any vehicles after hours. If
They're
you're
stressing that.
I'm sorry?
And they're stressing that.
They are at all their locations. And this isn't the only one we tow for. While I understand his frustration, had he been with the vehicle, he would not have been towed, but also he would have been towed and directed to park where the other 18-wheelers are at, and he would have been told to stay with the vehicle. And it is really for his truck's protection.
Okay. So, Mr. Arthur, the $1 million question is, do you have proof that you have permission to stay there? At that parking
I
spot?
don't have that proof. I can show you where I was parked, right here next to my product that I took off the truck. Yes, the truck was empty because they had taken the product off of the truck. That's why the truck was empty.
Yeah, there's no dispute of that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't leave where my product was, because if they couldn't get the paperwork, I was gonna have them reload it.
Okay.
And that's probably what I should have done. But she also charged me 2 tow bills. I have both of them right here.
But first of all, what I need to understand, Mr. Arthur, is one, you were parked in a towing area. Okay, there is a designated parking spot for 18-wheelers. I understand why you parked there because you didn't want to leave your load. But again, that doesn't qualify you to just do whatever you want.
I
Okay?
agree. I agree.
And so that's why your truck got towed.
Okay?
So the towing, as far as disputing whether it was right or wrong, right now, I don't have any dispute that they had any neglect on towing that. They had every right to tow that vehicle because it was not in the spot that it should have been in.
I
And
have the
two,
police
You weren't with
report.
the vehicle.
I have the police report that looked at the surveillance camera, and he says, the police report says that they towed it as one unit. They charged me twice.
You're not listening to what I am saying. It has nothing to do with the bill. Okay, the fact is they had the right to tow.
Okay,
Okay, so that's what we're talking about. Give me 1 minute with the towing of two parts. Can you explain to me what that is? How he got charged twice?
It is my understanding they separated the two units because of the length of it, their all overall length and the overall length of it and the safety of getting in and out of that property. So they may have, if you can see, looking back to the photo, you can see how far up on the curb he was. They would have had to pull it out so they can get to it, but whenever they do that, they have the equipment to attach airlines to it and then do drop drive shafts.
That's a good question. They did say it was after midnight when they towed it. I don't know. I know some Walmarts, at least they used to be open 24 hours. I don't know if they still are. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, but we know it's after midnight was when it happened. They said that earlier.
Okay,
And like
so-
you stated before, if the drive shaft was dropped, since the drive shaft was dropped. So, I mean, the drivers will separate the units. Sometimes they'll move it to another part of the area, then they'll separate it. And then they'll go on and keep on going and load the vehicle and keep on going and separate them.
So from your experience, is it standard for a vehicle this size to get charged twice for towing?
For separating it, yes, because it's two separate loads and under transportation code, they're charged separately if it's two separate loads. Again, it would be completely oversized.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Arthur.
Police report, we had him look at the surveillance camera. They towed it as one unit.
What is your response for towing it as one unit?
They may have seen it there on the property, but if you moved it further down, they would have separated it because it came back into our property, into the storage facility. It came in as two separate.
This court is in San Antonio, so I'm gonna guess that it's at least in the greater San Antonio area. Otherwise, the case wouldn't be in this court. That's just what I'm guessing. Maybe the tow company is in San Antonio, and that's where his car was towed. I don't know, but the court's in San Antonio. How many times can I say San Antonio in one pause? San Antonio. Let's go.
Units. Whenever there's a driver, there's a driver supervisor on duty for the safety of the driver in case someone approaches them during the transaction. So there's always, and the driver supervisor did a test that was two separate units.
And you don't have this driver, any statements or anything from the
I
driver?
did not, because we're here for a probable cause hearing, so, but if you want to, I mean.
Okay, give me 1
I
minute,
don't
guys.
have a way to get a hold of him right now.
You don't,
Because
or
he
you
works
do?
he works after hours. I can see if you can give me 5 minutes, I can try and get a hold of him.
Okay, give me,
By
go
10
ahead and go ahead and text him and see if you can. Let me read this real quick.
Can you get this is the towing bill, towing report. They could
Hold
not
on,
have.
hold on.
For a
could
moment
not
there, I
have
thought that
dropped
the video.
and picked up at the same time, two different vehicles.
I thought I paused the video. Is what I was gonna say. Nope, there's movement. But why there's no talking? What's up, K-Far? How are you doing, my friend? Feel like we need Jeopardy music. Oh, look at his wife. His wife's coming
Okay,
to help.
so on this police report, it does state,
Hi, Miss Clark.
the officer did see the security footage of R1's husband's truck trailer being towed from the location. It does show that the heavy-duty trailer towed both the cab and the trailer, both at the same time. The footage shows the wrecker towing the 18-wheeler away from where.
No, when Heather calls me, I answer the phone. Hello, every single time without fail. So no, it's not the Heather that you're used to.
it was parked at. I advised R1, which is the plaintiff, that I saw in the Walmart video security footage and gave her the case number. So that's per the officer, that he visually saw the footage and that it was towed as one entity.
Your Honor,
I'm messaging him right now, trying to get a hold of him.
Your Honor,
He works at
I
night,
have,
so.
I have a copy of the tow right there. And you will see that both of them are saying that they towed at the same time. If you look at the time on it, both of them were towed at the same time. There were no two separate tows done based on their own information.
No, K-Par, you don't like it when I do that. That's not the way you like it. You like it when I use my deep voice. It's, what's up? That's what you like. Don't pretend. Don't pretend you like the girly voice. You don't.
So those are very fluid numbers, Your Honor, and I certainly understand his concern. But when they're in the middle of towing, they take the photographs and they're taking the photo, they use the timestamp on the time that they took the photographs. So that's why they use that time.
Okay, and do you have any pictures of the vehicle actually being on the tow truck,
What do you mean?
of the 18-wheeler being towed?
No,
Because
because we're not
usually-
required, TLR require, doesn't even require us to take photographs. We just do it as a courtesy to show the violation of the photos, to show that it was, the probable cause existed for the removal.
Okay, so we got one or two options. I can reset this 1 week so you can allow the person to come in
Yeah.
and testify, because right now he's provided me an officer sworn statement that he saw the video
That's
of
fine.
it being towed together. So,
Yeah, but
I'm
we're
go-
talking about probable cause. Did it exist? I mean, that's a whole separate issue that was not addressed.
and that is true. Probable cause did exist for it to be towed, okay? But what his issue is too is this is a towing hearing in general, not just for probable cause. It's a towing hearing. So I need to understand if he got charged the right amount
Sure.
as well.
I'll contact the driver supervisor and the driver manager.
Okay,
But,
I
Your
mean, the
Honor,
driver supervisor, and I'll contact the driver as well.
well, Your Honor, they have surveillance cameras at their facility. So why don't they just show that both vehicles?
well, that's their case to prove. I can't make them. If they
Okay,
don't want to
well,
prove it,
Then
then
I'm gonna ask that they demonstrate, other than word of mouth, that they told them separate, because the surveillance that I have shows that they told them as one.
okay.
I'm not able to produce that, Your Honor. Honestly, the camera footage is so old that we only have access up to 7 days. If I was made aware, if he had filed it like right away, maybe, but we don't keep it. I mean, and honestly, I don't even own the storage facility. So, but I do know that it's only up to 7 days. That's
This is,
it. I mean, I
well-
can have the driver and the driver manager, but there's no reason, we've never had this situation, Your Honor.
Okay, I understand, but again, I've got a sworn officer stating otherwise.
And that's a statement, and just like these gentlemen will give their statement as well.
And I will make my determination at that point.
but that's based on surveillance. Your Honor, also, I missed my load because they wouldn't release.
That,
Is that a
that you're not
separate-
gonna get,
Do I
you're
need
not
to
gonna
file
get.
separate?
Your load, you're not gonna get, because there is probable cause that I did find that the towing was valid. You parked in an illegal parking spot.
Okay,
So the towing's valid, okay? Now, whether they charge you double or not, that's the issue, but probable cause already
but
exists.
they wouldn't release my vehicle.
Okay, again, you want to sue them for something else, that's completely different. But probable cause was found that
Yes.
the towing was valid. Now, what they charged you, that's the issue.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we're talking about $674 split twice, or hit twice.
Yes, ma'am.
So the most you're gonna get out of this back, if it goes your way, is $674 for double towing. But that's it.
Okay.
You're not getting anything else
Okay,
back.
I-
But even at that, I haven't made my decision. Again, I'm gonna reset it 1 week so that anybody, either side, can bring whatever they need
Can
to
I,
prove
can
their
I ask
case.
you one other question, please? And, I'm not sure if you are aware, but if a vehicle is towed, horsed up with the engine running so the brakes could be released, there is no oil going to the engine.
Okay, again, that's a separate case.
Separate
If you
case,
wanna
okay.
file anything else on what the damages they did to your vehicle or didn't do,
Okay,
then that's a whole string of cases and different rules and stuff that we gotta follow.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
that's not a towing hearing. So
Okay.
towing hearing is whether they have the right to tow you, yes or no, and the amount of being disputed. Okay?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm gonna go ahead and release these back to you, but bring these, Arthur. I need these
have
back.
to I have to drive back in from, that's yours. I have
Okay.
copies. I have to drive back in from Arkansas again for this. And so can we set it in 2 weeks rather than 1 week?
Are you okay with a 2-week reset?
I mean, can he go by Zoom?
I don't want to do Zoom. I want to
If
be
she
here.
doesn't agree, I only have the authority to do it for
That'll
1
be
week.
fine. I'll come back.
Can I get a copy of those as well, Your Honor?
Yes,
Okay,
so
thank
you,
you.
you want the 1 week?
1
You're not-
week.
You're not in agreement to a 2-week, okay. All right, swing around here to the right and let my clerk go ahead and make, not you, I'm sorry, Mr. Arthur, you said these were our copies, correct?
Those are yours.
Okay, I'm gonna give her a set of copies because she's entitled to them as well, okay? Chris, go ahead and keep the original, but give her a copy of those police reports.
So the reschedule will
You'll be
come.
getting a notice in the mail. If you want it via email, it'll get quicker to you, so that way you can make
I
arrangements
would
to your
like
job.
to be emailed.
Go ahead and wait right behind her and give
Yes.
my clerk your email, and then Chris, you can always email it to them. Okay? All right, you can bring in the 3 o'clock hearing, guys.
All right. All right. Fast forward 2 weeks. This just happened a few days ago. We have the actual trial. And it doesn't get any better. It doesn't. Not for this guy. Well, he's pro se. So, I mean, maybe it gets better for him. I don't know. You're going to have to watch to find out. Hutch, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate it. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much, Hutch. I do appreciate it. And Phil with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Phil. That is awesome. And welcome to the 5 new members. Did I just say that? Am I repeating myself? Why are words so hard tonight? I don't know. Let's watch some court.
Pauline and Arthur Hanley on this side. And then New Era Towing and anybody representing that, as well as Walmart. And then we got council as well that's on Zoom. Give me 1 minute because I know council had mentioned something about a reset, but I don't know. I may be talking out of terms. Go ahead.
Not on my case, Your Honor. I'm good to go.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes,
I
yeah.
I don't know. I must have misheard. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel slighted, Your Honor. I only have 1 case on your docket.
I know. Well, that's a good thing. It's usually, this is a quick proof of docket, so we're used to it. It's usually 1 or 2 attorneys, local attorneys that they've hired these law firms, so.
Understand. It's the same in Harris County, Your Honor. The courts
You're-
wrote through the credit card cases first. So
And if you're not used to it, it's like, whoa, but we're so used to it, it's like a broken record at this
I've
point.
sat through many a credit card docket or an eviction docket in Harris County. So I more than understand. I set aside 2 hours for this just in case.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Hopefully it won't take 2 hours. I don't
No.
foresee that. All right, so
Yeah, don't worry, everyone. This is only a half hour long. It's not 2 hours. It might feel like 2 hours with a few of the arguments that happen, but it's not. Don't worry.
we reset it. Remind me again, what was the reset for?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that, of course, I was not here at the first time, but talking to my clients, this was a heavy duty tow from Walmart. I don't think there was any issue on the actual probable cause to tow, or I think the court had already said that they were going to find probable cause. The issue was originally the vehicle, it was a tractor trailer unit. Originally it was towed in one piece, but when they got down the road, the tow company, New Era, they separated the two. And I believe the court had an issue with why the vehicle owner was charged for 2 tows when it started off as 1, and then ended up being two tows when it got to the vehicle storage facility.
Okay, and so I'm guessing New Era brought is this a tow guy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. All right, so, and your name is? Because I don't want to refer to you as a tow guy.
Henry B. Gonzalez.
Kind of can't, all right. Any connection?
No, ma'am.
All right. Just got a lucky name, huh?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, so this is a JP court, so it's not so formal. We do a lot of informal hearings But since I have the plaintiff here and I'm pretty sure he's gonna want to ask you questions, I'm gonna bring you up to the stand. I'm gonna have you sworn in one more time to make sure that you are under oath. And then I will have both sides be able to ask you some questions, okay? If there is any objection, please do not answer until I've made my decision, okay? If it's either sustained, which means that it's gonna stand and you don't have to answer, or if it's overruled and you can proceed to answer, okay? So we're gonna take it very slow. It shouldn't be very late.
Yes, you are correct. This is the same judge. In fact, it's the same docket. Just that was an earlier case in the same docket.
Lengthy. It's just your testimony on a particular item, and any evidence that your attorney wants to show you and or any questions he wants to rebuttal in response to that, okay? So if you could please come up here to the stand for me, please. You want to just have a seat, sir? And then Counsel Bruce, did you want to start with the questions or did you want Mr. Haney? Only it's your witness. I don't know if you want to let Mr. Haney just ask his questions. It's very informal, so.
I understand, Your Honor. This is about my 1,000th tow hearing, literally about my 1,000th. So, you know, I always like to let the vehicle owners have their kind of say and ask the questions first. And then I'll take the witness after that. And if he wants any follow-up, I know it's however the court, or I can ask questions first, whatever the court would like to do.
Okay, give me 1 minute. Mr. Hanley, so this is the tow, this is a person that towed the vehicle physically, okay? Is there any questions that you want to ask him? Now is your time to ask and cross-examine, and because the whole issue was you were being charged for double towing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Is there any questions that you want to ask Mr. Gonzalez?
Well, what I'd like to do first is defer and ask after he explains whatever the attorney is going to ask him.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Bruce. Let's start off.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, you were the attorney, you were the driver who towed this tractor trailer, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And originally, was it towed as one unit?
Yes.
Okay. Will you explain to the court a little bit about how, when you know, this is not just a vehicle tow, this is a several ton vehicle, how a heavy duty tow is hooked up to the tow truck?
When we take both units, we hook up from the front of the tractor, from where the front bumper is located, and that's where we hook up to the unit. And then we run lines for the air, and then we also drop the dry shaft.
Okay.
And once we've done all that, we take off.
Okay, let's stop there. When you say run lines for the air, what do those lines do?
Those lines that we hook up to from the main tow truck to his unit, they'll release the brakes.
Okay.
So to give us, you know, so we can take off. It frees the brakes up.
Okay. Do you also use the unit's brakes when you're towing the tractor trailer?
On this particular unit, we didn't use the air brakes on their unit, but when you apply the brakes on our unit, it'll still let us
Hold on,
know
wait a
if
minute,
his
hold on.
unit is leaking air.
Hold on, Mr.
I
Gonzalez.
didn't understand what he said. He said we did or we did not. I didn't understand what he said.
Okay. Can you go ahead, Mr. Bruce, and repeat the question again?
Sir, when you were towing this unit here,
Mm-hmm.
and you said you hooked up air lines to the tractor trailer's
Correct.
air brakes, correct?
Correct.
Are those two different sets of lines?
On
One to the tractor, one to the trailer?
No, not on this one. And this one was one line straight to the tractor, and to put air in the air tanks.
Okay. And why do you do that?
So once we build up enough air on his truck, it'll release the brakes. That way, you know, so we can take off.
Okay. If the air pressure starts to go down, what happens?
The brakes lock up on his unit.
Okay. So originally you tow it as one unit, correct?
Correct. We try our best, yes.
Okay. What happens when you get down the road?
Once we left the store, get on the highway, tapping on the brakes to make the right turn right there to get on the service road. And when I tapped on the brakes, I noticed that the needle was coming down pretty fast for the air pressure. Get on the highway and it's not building up air pressure at all. I tap on the brake to test it real slightly, and it went down quite a bit. So I had to get off at the next exit because that right there told us that he had a very bad air leak on his tractor.
And what's the acceptable PSI on the air brakes?
Above 60, that's when the buzzer turns off and it tells you you could go ahead and take off. And it goes all the way up to 120, but it never reached the 120. It'd get up to about 80 and come down till about 65.
Does that present a dangerous condition on the highway?
Definitely, because you could be doing 55 miles an hour, and if the brakes lock up, I mean, it just, it can lock up pretty fast and pretty hard.
And I'm assuming the tow truck you use to tow an 18-wheeler is a fairly large vehicle, correct?
Yes, it is.
How much is that the tow truck itself weigh?
Oh, shoot. That one right, man. Well, it can tow as much as 35 tons.
Okay. Let me just put it this way. You've got a heavy duty tow truck, a tractor and a tractor trailer unit. This is a big piece of metal moving down the highway, correct?
Correct.
At 50 plus miles an hour.
Yes.
Okay. And if the brakes lock up or lock up, that's going to be a problem.
Correct.
It's going to be a problem for you and the vehicles around you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what did you do after you got off the highway? What did you decide to do?
We got it off the highway, went down the service road. We didn't get very far. I found an area where we can, well, first of all, once we stopped, we checked and we could hear air coming out of the truck, but we just couldn't find it. Somewhere's under the hood, under the tractor, we could hear air leaking. And so we did our part the way we're supposed to. That air leak, that's something else. That's a mechanical issue on their part. So we put the truck down, disconnected it, and I took the trailer, and then I had to come back for the tractor. But this time I took the tractor in reverse. I picked it up from the back. That way you don't have to connect any air lines because the front tires are the ones that are rolling and they run freely.
Okay. And so let's go back to the original tow at Wal-Mart.
Mm-hmm.
You're familiar with the occupations code and the vehicle and the Texas Towing and Booting Act, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, you're not required to tow the units at a tractor trailer as one unit, are you?
No, sir. It depends on the situation. We can haul them separately.
Okay, and they're actually treated as two different vehicles under the act, correct?
They have two different serial numbers, so technically it's two different vehicles.
Okay, and I'm assuming that just you generally, from my knowledge of the industry, generally just try to tow them as one, so the vehicle owner only gets hit with one fee, correct?
Correct.
Okay, but in this case, that didn't work, so now you had to, basically, essentially have two tows.
Yeah, regroup and do it as going back for.
No, I enjoy this, especially the trial parts. I don't get bored. Now, this is the third time I've watched this, so I'm kind of just, staring at the chat. But normally, in most nights, no, I don't get bored at all.
Something different.
Okay, that's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Handy, the floor is all yours.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor, for allowing me to come back to your court. I'd like to ask you about.
K-Par, you don't know what he's going to ask yet. You have no idea. He might come out here full soft set and just blow your mind. We don't know. Got to listen to his arguments first.
Why you separated the two. You say you separated it because there was an air leak on my truck.
Correct.
And yet when I got in my truck, I drove my truck off and didn't fix nothing.
Right.
So, number one, I think this is collaboration and fabrication, and I can say that because I had no problems with my vehicle at all. In fact, as soon as she issued me, gave me, I paid her and took the paperwork,
Right?
since they do have surveillance on your lot,
Mhm.
you will notice that I drove off of your lot, connected to my trailer, and drove off of your lot without any air pressure problems at all, period.
Right.
Okay, so I didn't have no air leak on my truck. The air leak, in fact, could have been on your truck, not on my truck. So, since I didn't
Your
fix,
Honor, is there a question or is this just, I mean, I know we're doing this,
I know, I got you, Mr. Bruce.
well, I mean, I have to tell the truth.
I understand, but it's not your time to testify. It's your time to cross-examine. So I need you
Okay.
to, I'll give you your time to do your closing statements and to summarize everything. I will give you that. But
Okay.
I have a witness on the stand, so I need you to ask the questions you're gonna ask him. If not, I need to get him off the
Okay,
stand.
so are you a mechanic?
To a certain point,
Are you able to determine air leaks on 18-wheeler vehicles?
before I became a tow truck driver, I was a semi driver for over 30 years, 20 years with Walmart and 10 years cross country in the ice and snow.
So if there was a severe air leak on,
So what just happened there was the definition of don't ask a question you don't know the answer to, because you're failing right now, bud.
my equipment, with, say, 30 years of experience,
Mhm.
and you are a tow driver,
Correct.
are you telling the court that you were unable to determine where the air leak was coming from?
It's
And,
co-
and,
Mhm.
and it was that severe?
Right. It's coming from your truck. It's either under the hood or underneath, but that's not our responsibility. So I'm not gonna go in there and start looking around and fix somebody else's problem.
Understood,
Mhm.
understood. But my question is, you were not able to ascertain where the air leak was?
No, sir.
Okay. And so your reason for disconnecting, how far were you from the yard? May I ask that?
You're probably talking every bit of maybe 20 miles or better.
You can't be talking that much, sir, unless you went all the way around, San Antonio, because I did the GPS on it, and from the Walmart parking lot to
Mhm.
your storage facility is exactly 16 miles.
Oh, I missed it by 4. Yeah.
There we go. Case dismissed. He couldn't guess how far that drive was. He's getting good. Look out, guys.
No, you missed it quite a bit. And so, where did you actually pull off? Do you have the address, and did you take any pictures of what you did when you disconnected the two? Did you take any pictures of that?
No, we take pictures of the unit when we pick up
Right,
the unit. That's it.
but now you're gonna separate and bill me differently, so why didn't you take pictures there?
We already took them at the store. There's no reason to take a picture of it again.
Okay? So you say, and so the next question is, where did you actually do all of this disassembly or decoupling at?
Just a couple of miles up the road,
Where?
right on the service road, right up the street on some.
Yeah, I did catch it. I'm guessing that's just a local dialect. I'm not gonna poke fun at that.
Side streets.
And you left the trailer there, or you left the tractor there?
The
Which one
tractor
did you
there
leave?
and took the trailer and then came back for the tractor.
You left the tractor,
Correct.
took the trailer,
Mm-hmm.
and you came back,
Correct.
and you had no issues with pulling the trailer?
No, none whatsoever.
Did you, in fact, did you drop the drive shaft at the Walmart parking lot?
Yes, because we took them both at the same time and you're supposed to drop the drive shaft every
Know
time.
what
you
you're
do that.
supposed to do. I'm asking you, did you do that?
I just said yes. Mhm.
Okay. Did you, in fact, connect the airlines to my tractor, to my truck
Yes,
at the Walmart parking lot.
at the Walmart.
And that's what the surveillance cameras will show? I'm asking you that.
If they got one underneath the truck, that's what it'll show.
No, they don't have one underneath the truck, but they have one to determine whether or not you went under the truck and to determine whether or not you actually connected the lines.
Yeah.
Because they had a surveillance camera to determine that you did tow it
Yeah.
as a single unit.
Correct.
Okay? That's what I need to know. Do I make a statement now or?
Do you have any
okay.
do you have any other questions?
I have no other questions at this time, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ju-
Counsel,
just
do you have any
A
follow-up
couple
questions?
follow-up, Your Honor, if you don't mind. Sir, if you wanted to double up on this bill, would it have been easier just to separate them at the Walmart parking lot?
Oh, you talking to me, sir? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So,
sir.
yeah, it would have been easier to separate them at the Walmart parking lot, but we try to take them both at the same time because sometimes it's time consuming to do them both, to do them separate. Because we try to take them at the same time because sometimes we have something else scheduled behind it. And when we have to come back for, the other unit, that throws our whole schedule off.
Okay. So so really, if it was your intent to somehow double up, which a vehicle plaintiff is inferring, it would have been much easier just to do it at the Walmart parking lot.
Correct.
Well, yes and no. The first time he drove down he countersued the tow company. He said it was an illegal tow. There was damage to his truck. He wanted a lot more things. All that was dismissed, and the only thing that stayed was the potential of a double tow cost. And apparently he came back for it. He could have said whatever and didn't come back, but he did. So we're in trial now.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And so there's nothing that prevented you from just separating them at Walmart, and doing two tows, other than you tried to do it with one, just tried to keep it down to one bill and couldn't safely do it, but with just one tow, correct?
Correct.
That's all I had, Your Honor.
Okay, one question real quick, Mr. Gonzalez. So you're telling, well, I guess my question to you is, if the airline is losing pressure, can you determine if it was your airline or his truck, or you
Yeah.
don't know?
No, it was from his truck, definitely.
Okay, and why do you say definitely?
Because if it would have been from my truck, I would have caught it on the way over there or anywheres. I have gauges in the truck.
Okay, and that's what I want to know. I don't know how it's calculated. So your air gauges on your tow truck, even if they're not in use or not, they're always being monitored
Correct.
for safety reasons, obviously,
Yeah,
because
yes.
you can wreck or if something goes under.
It was there and they lock up.
Okay, so your gauges are always being monitored on your lines, that
Mhm.
even if they're not attached to another vehicle or not,
Correct.
you
Yep.
can tell, and your pressure was never being lost on your side.
None at all.
Okay, all
Your
right.
Honor, Your Honor, may I just please?
Okay, one more set of questions because I've given everybody their chances, so go ahead. Are you asking them questions?
I'm going to ask. the
Okay,
question.
okay.
If the airline itself had a hole in it, an abrasion, if it was broken, would pressure be lost through the airline itself going to my truck?
Not from our line. It
No,
would be lost in your truck.
no. That's not what I'm asking you. If your airline had an abrasion
Yes,
or a break,
correct.
I understand because I told also.
Uh-huh.
I understand that your gauges would not catch that
Right.
because your truck is generating the proper amount of air.
Mm-hmm.
But if the airline going to my truck from your truck had a hole in it, an abrasion where it was leaking, then the air loss to my truck would not be caused by any problem with my truck, but rather by your airline. And so who is to say, or how do you know that it wasn't your airline that caused the problem?
Because driving a semi for over 30+ years,
20 here.
I got you beat by 10 more. We learned to inspect hoses and airlines and do our DOT inspections before we even take off. Okay, so when we pulled over to check, our lines weren't leaking. It was coming from your truck. Your truck's over here. The noise is at your truck, not our line. You see?
Well-
And as far as a building pressure, when you left our yard, your truck is on. So the compressor is trying to keep up with it. Versus just the compressor coming from the front of the truck. You see,
I mean,
so
if you make,
Now, I understand what he's trying to ask. He's trying to put the blame on the tow truck driver. And he tried to say that, my truck was fine. There was nothing wrong with my truck when I parked it. So something had to have happened while you were towing it. The problem is why didn't he ask that question when the guy first testified and said that the air leak was coming from underneath the guy's truck? He said it. It was coming from underneath the hood. We heard an air leak. We stopped. The PSI wasn't high enough. We stopped. That's when we put 2 different tow-ins. It's already been said. I don't know if this guy's not paying attention. I don't know. But now we're asked and answered. Again, informer hearing. He's not going to get an objection to, but now we're repeating ourselves.
making that statement,
Yeah.
it's a false statement, because if my compressor is building up the right amount of pressure and I have a leak, then it's certainly not gonna build up. I won't be able to leave the yard because my brakes won't engage.
Oh,
My brakes will not engage, and I know that, and you know that.
No,
But the question is it possible that your airline could have been leaking, which could have caused the problem of loss of air to my truck?
I just answered that, sir. I said, when we pulled over, we inspected our airlines, and leak was coming from your unit.
Conjecture?
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Any more questions?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Okay, you may step down. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thanks.
All right, counsel, do you want to start off with closing statements, or do we have, I'm sorry, let me not rush y'all. Do y'all have any more witnesses?
I'm kind of conferring with my client via text, Your Honor, so I'm not just looking at my phone.
Oh, no, fine.
Okay. Your Honor, I think we're good, actually.
What up, Shane? No, he said conjecture, not. He did say conjecture, not objection. Yeah, he was just agreeing to disagree, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the point of that was. Hey, your truck was broken, not mine. That's what he wanted to say.
Actually.
Okay, do you want to do some closing statements before I let?
Yes, I would.
Okay, I'm gonna let him do his statements. It's your case, so you have last word. So give me 1 minute. Go ahead.
It would be, plaintiffs.
Go ahead, Mr. Bruce. Or you want plaintiff
Oh,
to go?
I'm sorry. It's plaintiff's burden, Your Honor, so I thought they would go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Mr. Hanley, go ahead and summarize everything you need to tell me.
Okay,
This is closing statements at this point. I've heard a lot of the testimony last time. The whole point of today was I wanted the testimony of the driver so we could clarify, or ask questions. So we have gotten all the questions. So if you want to continue with your closing statements, I'll let counsel close them off at the end, and then I'll make my decision. Go ahead.
Your Honor, it is a fact that on 3/21/25 that New Era Towing did tow my vehicle from the Walmart parking lot. It says that based on their paperwork, and that's what I have to look at, it says that they towed my truck at 12:47, arrived at their yard at 1:21, and this is their paperwork, and it was 16 miles. And it says also, and that was the point of origin was the Walmart parking lot, the point of origin for towing. It also says that on the same day at 1:21, approximately 30 minutes later, that New Era Towing towed my trailer from the point of origin, which was the Walmart parking lot, and arrived at their place of destination at 1:51 a.m. And that was a total of 16 miles. And so within a matter of 30 minutes, they towed 2 vehicles. And if I had not read what they gave me and determined that there was just no way possible to make this happen, then we wouldn't be here today. But I did read it, and I did interpret it, and they did submit the paperwork to me, and I did pay what they requested.
No, that never came up again.
And when
Oops, sorry. I double clicked it. Yeah, that never came up again. No one asked him again. He didn't submit it. I'm guessing he didn't really have permission. That's what happened there.
I look at the paperwork, the surveillance cameras say it was a single tow. I believe that. The police officer says it was a single tow. I believe that. These are just the facts, and those are undisputed. But the paperwork said it was a double tow, and I have the paperwork to show what time. Regardless of what happened, Your Honor, you told me that after my equipment left the Walmart parking lot on last Thursday, that that all of the other information was superfluous. And maybe what they did after they left the parking lot is pertinent. And I don't know, that's not my decision. But I do know that I have paperwork that was submitted to me fraudulently. And I did the research on what fraud is. And fraud is
Your Honor, I'm going to object to, because this is outside the scope of what the jurisdictional limits of this hearing. It's just on probable cause and was he charged a regulated fee. And so that a fraud or anything like that is not pertinent or relevant. And I understand it's closing, but I'm still going to lodge the objection.
All right, so I'm gonna sustain it, Mr. Henry. Go ahead and stick to the facts if you want to, this isn't a criminal matter, okay? So we're gonna take the
understand.
fraudulent out and just continue with what you're
I'm
stating.
just trying to deal with the paperwork that I have in hand.
I understand, and that
Okay,
is your
well, I
opinion,
won't
so
use the
stick
word
to the
fraud.
facts.
I won't use the word fraudulent, and I'll just deal with that at a later time. I was submitted 2 bills for towing my equipment from the Walmart parking lot, and it is on each bill. I was submitted these bills, and I had to pay these bills prior to my equipment being released. And that's exactly what I did based on the paperwork that was presented to me. And of course, I don't know what words to use to interpret what was presented to me, since I can't use the word that I thought I could. I would like to say that everything that has the statements that have been made sounds like they were collaborated and fabricated, and is suspect at best, because I have over 20 years of of driving an 18-wheeler, and I've towed trucks across multiple states, hundreds of miles, myself personally. I'm very, very familiar with 18-wheelers, and in fact, I'm a mechanic also. I would like to submit to the court that this tow company is asking the court to validate their way of paperwork and their way of double billing a customer, and to validate their way of paperwork. And the paperwork does not add up to what the surveillance says, to what the police officer says, and it doesn't add up at all. But they want this court to validate it, to set a precedence, to say, we can bill you the way we want to bill you, and you need to be okay with that, because we got the court to say what we did was proper. And I just,
Hey,
The
Mr.
court
Handy,
is-
you're
the
walking
court
a
is
thin
the
line,
court.
so let's.
Yeah, you're about to draw an objection, yeah, but
the court is the last recourse that a small person like me have. I don't have any other recourse except to come to the court and say,
I don't really know what you mean. Wouldn't the two bills be different costs due to one being closer? No, I mean they still towed both vehicles the same distance. They just towed them together from about halfway, and then they had to separate them. And then they towed them both back. So I think it would be the same if I understand what you're saying. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm missing what you're saying. I don't know.
this is what I was presented, this is what I paid, and what they presented to me, and how I paid it and everything doesn't add up based on what the paperwork says.
All right. Mr.
And
Handy.
so, there is an attempt, I believe, to disregard all of the facts that are undisputable, and then to say that my equipment, with no proof at all, my equipment caused the decouple or the disassembly of the truck and trailer, which caused them to say, we need to bill you twice. I don't know how it all adds up. But the court is the only recourse we have in situations like this.
All right, sir. Are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Bruce.
yes, Your Honor. With
That is what happened. So for anyone that missed the beginning, they towed it together part of the way, but then there was an air pressure leak in the brakes, so they had to stop the single tow and detach the trailer from the rig or the truck and tow them separate the rest of the way. So they didn't say how far the single tow was until they had to split it. I just imagine it was about half. They did say 16 miles from the Walmart to the tow yard was 16 miles. And yeah, they got both pieces there. But yeah, it was a single tow out of Walmart, and then somewhere along the line they had to split it up.
respect to the vehicle storage facility receipts, everything on that receipt is dictated by the Vehicle Storage Facility Act and the Occupations Code. And so they can't deviate from what needs to be put on that receipt. The tow originated from Walmart. We agree with that. We agree that when it was towed from Walmart, it was in one piece. It was a tractor trailer unit. We heard testimony from the driver who was actually physically there, saying, hey, I got down the road.
Absolutely, Andy. That's about to come up.
There's a mechanical problem. We had to separate because of the air pressure problem. If they wanted to double bill, they could have simply just, if that's their nefarious, intent to double bill, we could just separate it at the Walmart parking lot. But they didn't. Certainly, the driver of the tow truck is allowed to use his judgment to think what is safe and what is not. And he determined it was not safe to continue down the road. They separated the units, which again, they could have done right at the Walmart, and he still would have gotten the double bill. I'm not even, this is in my literally 1,000 tow hearings. I've never had this issue come up, but I don't even know if, since they charge the regulated fee, if this really fits within the jurisdiction of this of a tow hearing. It's really maybe a small claims court issue, but let's just assume for the fact it does.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Um,
yeah.
Pardon? I'm sorry, Your Honor?
No, I was thinking the same thing, because probable cause has already been established. So
Right.
we're
And
now
it's really the
getting
question,
something else.
yeah, I mean, if the city of San Antonio says it's $500, for the tow, and they charge 600, that's something this court could deal with. I don't even know if the court can deal with this issue here, but that being said, it is the vehicle owner's burden. We don't deny, as I said, we don't deny, but it ended up being 2 tows for safety reasons. And I think that certainly for the public safety, this is not, you can imagine the size of this unit going down the road. You want the tow truck driver to be able to say, this is unsafe. I need to pull over, do one at a time. And yes, they're going to get double bill. And that's our position, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So after hearing everything, I just want to ask real quick one question to New Era. New Era. Yes. Whoever wants to, well, not that, because I'm sure he doesn't deal with billing. The invoices, since it was towed at 2 different spots, yes, it was originally towed at Walmart. Why on the invoices does it say towed from 2100 South?
Carrie, I have no idea what that is. I don't know what a tag lock is. So I can't answer that. It didn't come up in the hearing. There was 2 parts to this. The probable cause hearing was before this, and then this is the trial. So I don't remember hearing anything about that. Maybe it came up and I didn't know what it was, so I just kind of ignored what was being said. I don't know, but I don't remember hearing that.
Southeast Loop 410 on both bills if it was separated down the street. Can you answer me that just real quick?
Your Honor. So the violation is, so it originated at the Walmart. So that's why the address is Walmart. Okay, so that's where it has to be, because that's where we have the contract at. So even if we separate it down the road for safety reasons or whatever the case may be, it still originated at Walmart, and that's where our towing agreement's at, and that's where the violation originated at.
Okay, thank you very much. You answered my question. Thank you. All right, so I've heard everybody's testimony, and I'm gonna go ahead and make my decision at this point. Mr. Hanley, again, it's your case. You brought the case to the court, so it's your burden of proof. The defendants literally don't have to say a word.
Thank you so much for asking that, Dave. I've been wondering that this entire time. Through all of this, I've been waiting for some explanation why he wasn't at the truck. Did he just park it there and then leave? I'm guessing towing a regular car only takes a couple of minutes, but it's loud. This happened after midnight. What was he doing? Was he shopping in Walmart? I imagine this had to have taken a while for them to tow a semi truck with a trailer. No idea where this guy was. There was no explanation for that. He never brought it up. Nobody asked him the question, but he wasn't there.
If they don't have to, that's just the way the world, the justice system works right now. The burden of proof falls on the plaintiff who initiated the case. Okay, so at this.
Wait, he did say that? I missed it. Hold on. Someone just said it. He went to visit his daughter in the hospital. Okay, I somehow missed that. Okay, I missed that. But didn't they say that the tow happened after midnight? So he went to visit his daughter in the hospital after midnight. I mean, I mean it's possible. But that okay. All right, we're just gonna move on. I'm an idiot. Let's just go.
At this point, I don't see any proof to where your service line was or was not maybe malfunctioning or anything like that. Again, I have the testimony from the driver. I have the testimony from New Era. And yes, I do have the police report stating that the tow originated in one piece. There is no denying that. Nobody has denied that they originally towed in one piece. Hence is why the officer said that he saw him leave it Walmart parking lot in one piece. We get that. So your police report is not irrelevant. It's just not sufficient enough because it only shows part of the picture, not the entire picture. That is why I call it the tow truck. So he could give me the other half of that picture that we're unaware of. He has been sworn under oath, okay? And like the attorney said, if they truly wanted to double bill you, as you claim your defense to be, that they wanted the money and they wanted to double bill you, they could have just double billed you at the beginning and did it in two tows at the beginning of Walmart, not pull over, get off the access road, leave it on the side of the road, risk somebody hurting themselves or them getting hurt, unattaching it on the side of the road just to double bill you as you claim. Okay, and that's your whole defense, that they wanted to double bill you and that you're one person and this is your defense in small claims court or in a JP court. That's been your whole defense. Okay. So again, the burden of proof falls on you. And unfortunately, right now, I don't think you have met the burden of proof. I have testimony from the driver. I have testimony from New Era. They have justified everything, all my questions. And I do understand that you do have a lot of questions that need to be answered or may not agree to how they function, but they are working under certain codes and their paperwork has to say.
I believe it means justice of the peace. That's what I mean. That's what I imagine it means. It's just so this court handles all the debt claims, like the debt collection cases and the landlord tenant cases is what this court. Oh, and the civil traffic matters is what Judge Garcia covers. Okay, I'm rambling. Let's go. We're almost finished. We're almost done.
Certain things, and hence is why I brought the truck driver here in person, the truck driver, which is named on the invoice, Henry Gonzalez. He has testified that his name is Henry Gonzalez under oath. So he is the driver of the tow truck. And unfortunately, this size truck, I thank him for rather to be safe than sorry, because we could have hurt a lot of people if he would have continued to try to bill you in one bill and something happened along the way. Again, we're not a mechanic, but it's not their burden of proof to prove. It's yours. So unfortunately, I don't think you've met your burden of proof, so the case is going to be dismissed. Again, you have 21 days to appeal it if you'd like. If you choose to appeal it, you can go up to the front. It'll go taken to a higher court, and you'll be getting your paperwork there. If not, judgments will be mailed to both sides either way. Okay.
Your Honor, my client asked me, since they didn't have to hire counsel, to request of the court $500 in attorney's fees. That's what my fee is on these.
Okay, counsel, if you want to go ahead and put on testimony for attorney fees.
All right, Wixom, you asked that at the perfect time. However, Judge Garcia is about to shut down her docket, so we don't get to hear whether or not she grants them or not. I'm gonna say this from watching Judge Garcia for a while. I'm gonna say she splits the baby and charges him $250 for attorney fees. Is what I'm gonna believe that happens. He's about to ask for $500. I think she's gonna award him $250. He wasn't at the PCC last week, so I think that's what she's about to say. But like I said, she's about to cut off her docket, so it's not on me that we don't have if she awards this or not. It's just not on YouTube, so we can't get it. I did not. How is that a clickbait? Yeah, you're right. I absolutely was saying I can't wait to show you guys what happens after the attorney asks for attorney fees. We'll just wait till the very end of this video and then not show it. See, that would be clickbait. That would absolutely be clickbait. I never said that. All right, I am going to let this video play out. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight. Thank you for the super chats, the membership milestones, the gifted membership. You guys are awesome. Members only Monday tomorrow night. I do want to warn you, as of now, I do plan on making a little Michigan court tour tomorrow. So I'm going to be jumping in different courts tomorrow throughout the day. I will make it back before the live tomorrow night. But if I'm running late or, I don't know. I'm just warning you guys, if I'm really tired or if my video sucks tomorrow night, you know why. Because I am going to be spending all day in Michigan. If anybody wants to hang out, to check where I'm going, if you're in the Michigan area and you have tomorrow off, reach out to me on Discord. I'll tell you where I'm going. As of right now, I'm going to be making the normal rounds stop by 36th District in the morning. Be visiting Judge Simpson, Judge Slavin tomorrow. I might try to jump down to, I don't know, Judge DeSanto, somebody somewhere. Maybe a Judge McNally, maybe a different courthouse on the way back, in the a little bit south of Detroit. We'll see. We'll see what the time looks like. But that's the plan. So I will, yeah, that's all I got. I am set up to raid Katie Zed. She is the only one online, but I will warn you, I think she started when I did at 8. She might be ending soon. So I might raid her and it might be over by the time we get there. So yeah, that might happen. But, go say hi. Anyways. Sparkle Poots, thank you so much. Not fair. I actually got into the vid more than chat. Wow. Whoa. That doesn't happen. Who watches the videos here more than the actual chat? I mean, not me tonight. I was watching the chat. I was not paying attention to the video very much. As you can tell, I forgot the part that he was visiting his daughter. So it does happen. All right. That's it. You guys have a great night, and go tell Katie Zed I said hello. I will see you tomorrow. Until next time, bye.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. My name is Jonathan Bruce. I've been practicing law in the state of Texas for over 30 years. I, believe it or not, specialize in towing in tow truck law. I've handled over 1,000 tow hearings and actually helped write this statute. I charge a flat fee for these tow hearings of $500.